I never thought I'd be sitting in a police station, hands trembling, heart pounding, feeling like the walls were closing in on me. The room was cold, the air thick with the scent of stale coffee and ink from the endless paperwork scattered across the desk. Across from me sat Detective Lawson, his sharp eyes watching my every move, waiting for me to speak. But where could I even begin? "Mrs. Carter," he said, flipping through the file in front of him. "I need you to tell me everything that happened that night." My throat felt dry, my fingers curled into my lap as I tried to find the words. "I already told you," I whispered. I begged him to stop. But he never stepped away. He never even hesitated. Detective Lawson leaned forward, his pen tapping against the paper. "You're referring to your stepson, correct?" I nodded slowly. "Yes." "Nathan." His expression was unreadable. "You believe Nathan had something to do with your husband's disappearance?" Tears stung the corners of my eyes. "I don't believe it. I know it. Everything had started months ago when I married David Carter, a man 20 years older than me. People whispered, made their assumptions, but I didn't care. David was kind, stable, everything I needed in my life after years of struggling to survive on my own. He gave me a home, security, and for the first time, I felt safe. But Nathan never accepted me. David's only son from his first marriage, Nathan was 22 and still living at home. He was polite to me in front of his father, but when we were alone, his eyes were cold, his words laced with quiet resentment. I tried to connect with him at first, tried to be patient, but it was clear he didn't want me there. At first, it was just small things. He'd ignore me at dinner, leave the room whenever I walked in, pretend I didn't exist. Then the little things became something more. I started noticing the way he watched me. Not like a son looking at a stepmother, but something else. Something that made my skin crawl. One night, while David was away on a business trip, I woke up to find Nathan standing in my bedroom doorway. I shot up in bed, my heart pounding. "Nathan." He didn't say a word. Just stood there, his face blank, eyes locked onto mine. "What are you doing?" I whispered. Still, no answer. Then slowly he turned and walked away. The next morning I told David, but he brushed it off. "Nathan's just adjusting," he said, sipping his coffee. "He's had a hard time since his mother passed. He'll come around." But he never did. Instead, things got worse. I often found doors left slightly open that I swore I had locked. Footsteps outside my bedroom at odd hours of the night. And Nathan always there, always watching. The night David disappeared, a storm raged outside, lightning flashing across the sky as rain pounded against the windows. David and I had been arguing about Nathan. I told him I couldn't take it anymore, that something was wrong with his son. David sighed, rubbing his temples. "You're overreacting, Claire." "I'm not," I snapped. "David, he stood in my doorway last night, just watching me. That's not normal." David exhaled, shaking his head. "I'll talk to him." But it was too late for that. Nathan walked into the room then, his clothes damp from the rain, his dark hair plastered to his forehead. He looked between us, his lips curling into a smirk. "Everything okay?" His voice was calm, almost too calm. David sighed. "We're fine, son. Go to bed." Nathan didn't move. He just stood there, his gaze locked onto mine. "She wants me gone, Dad." I swallowed hard. David pinched the bridge of his nose. "Nathan, no one wants anyone gone. We're a family." Nathan chuckled softly. "A family? That's what we are." Something about the way he said it made my stomach twist. I should have left the house that night. Should have grabbed my keys and driven away, never looked back. But I didn't. I went to bed instead, locking the door behind me. I lay awake for hours, my mind racing. Then, in the dead of night, I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. A shadow passed beneath my door. My breath hitched. "Nathan." I whispered. Silence. Then the doorknob rattled. Panic seized my chest. I sat up, my pulse thundering in my ears. "Nathan, stop." The rattling stopped. For a moment, I thought he had left. But then, a click. The door swung open. Nathan stepped inside, his expression unreadable. "Please," I begged. "Just stop." He took another step. "Nathan, don't." Another step. "Nathan, please." But he never stopped. He never stepped away. He just smiled. And that was the last time I saw my husband alive.